Are we gonna record this time, JJ?
I record every time.
You don't. You don't because it happened today.
90% of the time, every time.
You good?
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movement Mindset powered by Station Athletics. I'm Chris Hardenberg here with Dave Whitson. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that was given to me by Ed Flannery. So if you're not familiar, we've had Shannon on the podcast. She's our district manager, her husband, big brain guy, super smart. So he had some law that he called it. I don't remember what he said, but essentially the concept is that if you're not growing, you're dying, and there's really no such thing as maintenance. And so I thought it was a cool topic, and it's definitely one that Joe and I have talked about a ton. And so I wanted to bring it on the podcast with you, Dave, just kind of like the topic of, you know, if you're not growing, you're dying, and how that fits into like different aspects of life and business. So the first spot I'd like to go to, which is kind of the easiest, I think, for us to touch on, would be the business side of things.
Oh yeah.
So I guess in your experience, you know, how does that apply to the business side? If you're not growing, you're dying, and there's really no maintenance with it.
Well, if you're in business, whatever it is, you're providing a service or product to people. What people want is always constantly shifting, right? And then things advance in the way that you can deliver it. Even mindset, or even like we call it the market is a big brain, right? It's the brain of all these people. And all of us are playing catch up to this market brain to figure out what they want and what they need.
Yeah.
And what works best. Because a lot of business is also trying, failing, trying again, making it better.
Right.
And for business, anytime you think that you arrived or you're there or you have it figured out, which is all like anytime someone says, I figured it out. Did you? For the next 2 weeks, you figured it out.
I was just about to say, you've probably figured it out right now, but it's going to change.
Yeah, it's going to change. And so for businesses, once businesses kind of settle and believe they're good, they usually go away. Like Kodak is a great example.
Okay.
Everyone knew Kodak. JJ's too young to probably remember Kodak.
I
should
don't
probably
know
change
what
that up. When there used to be film instead of digital.
Oh no, when you say Kodak, I think of like the protein pancakes.
Kodiak. That's Kodiak.
Yeah, it looks the same with packaging.
It's a camera, JJ. You see, you take the picture and then you have to bring it to someone.
You
to
would bring
process.
the film somewhere.
What's a USB-C, Chris?
Yes. He doesn't know.
No one asked you, JJ. Anyways, Dave.
So Kodak was, I mean, you couldn't go anywhere in photography without Kodak. You go to get film developed, it was mostly Kodak, right? Hopefully I can remember the K with the bright yellow,
Yeah.
all of it. Do they even exist anymore?
Right.
They
Right.
did not advance with the digital age. Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix for
Yes.
cheap.
Yes.
No, we got this. No, they don't.
Well, I think
It was too late.
Yeah, I think the meeting was like they looked at the idea that Netflix had and was like, this will never work. Like no one will ever go to this. And it's like now that I don't even know what they're worth, but it's like billions upon billions of dollars.
Yeah, it's crazy. Which I think is going to be interesting as time goes on because they're going to force to show their numbers more,
Yeah.
which they're scared to do because I don't think it's nearly what people think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think most of the streaming stuff is just future will plan out.
Yeah, sure.
Uber, everyone knows Uber. They haven't turned a profit, and most of their big investors are just waiting for self-driving cars because that's when they'll make a profit. So for business, if you ever think, like there's phases where it's like you want to solidify things, but once you're solidifying, you are thinking about the next step.
Yeah.
If you're not always thinking future or how you can add value, it's going to be kind of done at some point.
Well, we've seen it. Obviously, you've given big company examples, right? Where it's just like, this is the way we've done it. This is the way we've always done it. And this is the way we're always going to do it. I'm sure you've read Good to Great, that book, right? If you guys are not familiar, the book Good to Great outlines like, what is the difference between two companies? You know, one started here, and they kind of go like this, or even ones that have started like neck and neck with each other. One goes up, the other goes down. Like, what causes that? And a lot of it was a lack of innovation. Like, this is the way we've done it, and we're super successful with it. And we as a company ran into that from the marketing side. So back in so I started working here in 2017. Back in 2017, 2018, I will not forget being at the gym and selling from 4 p.m., 4 o'clock until 7, 8 o'clock at night, every 20 minutes, seeing at least 1 to 3 people every 20 minutes.
It was crazy.
Bang, bang, bang. And the reason why is we were an early adopter into Facebook ads. And at the time, there was very little regulation around Facebook advertising. So there was like tons of stuff you could do
Yeah.
with targeting. I'm not going to bore you guys, but we were getting leads for like $2 a lead.
Mhm.
And now it's like, if we can get leads for $30, $40 a lead, it's like, wow, we're doing really good. And I think, and at that time, we went all in on Facebook advertising. And then when the market changed, it was like, shoot, how are we going to get people in the door?
Mhm.
And so it kind of, now, thankfully, we were able to pivot. But a lot of people are left like, I don't know what else to do.
Oh yeah, because people lived and died on Facebook ads.
Right.
And-
And kind of to map that into the principle is just like, you can get stuck into this
Your
is
box.
this is the way we do things.
Mhm.
And I do think you need to have certain lines and principles you have as a company. We have that.
You have your standards and values, and you want to operate within those.
Correct. But
Right.
you always have to add and layer and
Mhm.
nuance your value offerings or your marketing or your sales, because you're right, the marketplace constantly changes.
Mhm.
And if you don't adjust or change or adapt to that, you go backwards. I heard I forget the exact metrics, but in business, there's no such thing as like coming in second or third, because the way the marketplace works is the gap between first and second is monumental.
Yes. Yeah.
Because everyone just goes for the top thing. You want to buy some really simple example. You want to buy something off of Amazon, right? I want to buy, I don't know, a camera stand, right? What's the first thing you do is you look at the reviews,
Mhm.
right? And so it's like the most reviewed item, the most sold item just gets more people who buy it. They don't go and say, okay, hey, this is my price range, right? This is the best item. I'll go to the second best item because I don't want to pay the same amount of money for a better item. Like, that doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. And so that's where it's like, you have to innovate to the top, because there really is no one left in the marketplace who wants to go for second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, a lot of those people are kind of just struggling along, and something has to change that they pop up, or eventually they just tail off.
Right.
And so there's like for me in my position, it's if I'm speaking to a general manager or one of the coaches and they're resistant to change or trying something new, it's a red flag.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they don't have an actual reason for it besides I don't want to, or I don't feel
Right.
right. Like, give me some real concrete reason and we can discuss it. But if it's just because you don't like change, well, we're in trouble, because everything's always changing. Like, nothing is stagnant that's living. Like, stagnant water is dangerous water.
Yeah.
You don't drink stagnant
knows?
water. You
Right.
don't, right? Everything, bacteria, everything just kind of groups into it. And there is something where like momentum, or as you start making money, that attracts more of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like there is one location where the GM is now on top of like everything he's supposed to be doing. And now we're getting these random people just walking in and joining
Yeah.
that we didn't put money into ads for. All of a sudden, it just attracted certain other parts of momentum.
Yes.
And it's just because things are moving forward again.
It's funny how that works.
And the GM is on top of it. So when someone walks in, he's ready.
Yeah.
He's just ready for it because he's in the mode. And so there is a part of that where it's like, if you're not moving forward, progressing, learning, when an opportunity comes up, you have nothing to put into it.
Yeah.
You just don't. Yeah. So a lot of people like talk about rest and everything now.
Yeah.
And I think they confuse rest and standing still.
Yes.
And so rest doesn't mean sitting there and like not progressing at all. Rest is where you sharpen yourself or you fill yourself up so you can go give more or do more,
Yeah.
whatever it happens to be. So I know we have like two parts of the culture where it's like grind for no reason because there's really nothing coming out of it. But because I'm grinding,
I'm cool. Yeah.
it's like really because
Embrace the grind, bro.
Like,
Like
really,
4
'cause-
a.m.
that side business you've done has not turned $1 in 5 years.
Right.
I know your friends are all high-fiving you, but it hasn't done anything. And the point of a business is to make money, because without money, you can't pay people, you can't put a roof over your head, you can't save for your kids' college. It's not evil to make money. It's not,
Right.
right? That's like a common thing that gets messed up too. People are like, oh, what do you call it? Money is the root of all evil. And it's like, that's not the line. The love of money is the root of all evil.
Right.
There's a difference.
Right.
Some of the nicest people I know give away more money than any that I make in a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like those art museums, that stuff wouldn't exist if those people weren't there.
Right.
And so there is something where like our culture has two things where it's like, oh, I'm just working on myself. And it's like, well, you got a mani-pedi, a massage, and you're sitting at home doing nothing, watching a movie. I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but we're not. How is that? I know you're feeling like you're resting, but if you do that every day, and then your purpose becomes to do as little as possible.
Yeah.
And part of it is like staying useful.
Yeah. There's a difference between resting to recharge and just, I hate to say it this way, but it's true, but just like getting lazy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like,
And it's easier to get lazy than ever
Yeah.
because you can use your phone to order food. You can use your phone to order like to watch a movie. You can use your phone. Why are you looking at him?
because I use my phone to order food for like the first time.
For the first time? It's
I-
2025.
I
people.
got I got a DoorDash gift card and I was like, JJ, I got to use this. I don't know how. And he was like, what is wrong with you?
How do you operate in the world? I don't understand.
Definitely saved a lot of money, not DoorDash.
Yo, my
Past
gosh.
5 years though.
Oh yeah, like during lockdown, like ordering food from those companies. I'm like, I just spent $36 on a burrito.
Literally what JJ said. He was like, don't be surprised if that gift card doesn't last you as long as you think.
No, you're like, oh, I have a $100 gift card. You have one meal for two people.
Done.
Yeah.
But
But it makes us lazy. And so sometimes by being, there's efficiency to be productive and there's efficiency to do nothing.
mhm.
And when we think that sometimes we go the other way, and now we just built a habit of finding the path of least resistance, not the path to the overall goal.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's on one side, guys. So that's the business side. The other side, right? The other side of this podcast is the fitness side. And listen, I want to be careful on how I refer to this because I'll be honest, I've used the word maintenance when it comes to
Yep.
fitness, right? Or like, anyone who's counted macros before knows that there's like bulking and cutting and maintenance, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so like I want to be careful on how I relay this, but so try to hear my words appropriately. But so there are ways in fitness that you can go into quote maintenance, but your body as like is never truly in maintenance because of father time.
We cannot control the fact that the day went by, our bodies are aging. We can do stuff to try and stay as healthy as possible, but the years still come,
Yeah.
right? They just do.
And so that's where like studies have shown that like past the age of 40, testosterone drops off, muscle mass starts to not drop off, but starts to decline. Muscle mass can go the other direction. And so that's where like weight training and stuff like that is super important to quote maintain that. But then once you hit like 55, it drops off significantly again.
Yeah.
Post 65 and it like falls off a cliff. Post 75, it like really falls off a
Yeah.
cliff.
We could have a whole conversation around this because if you look at the research from 50 years ago, everything is shifted to the negative over time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a whole weird thing. That's
Sure.
a whole other conversation.
So that's where it's like working, basically like you have to exercise, work out, and eat right. And you're not almost like to use the word maintain kind of where you're at to a certain degree. But that's why like if you look at sports, right? Let's look, the CrossFit Open's going on when this comes out. I don't know when it's or when we're filming this. I don't know when it's exactly going to come out, but currently as we're talking, the CrossFit Open is going on. There's a reason why masters athletes get excited to age up a division, right? Like, oh, thank goodness I just turned 50. I'm the young one on the block, because now it's like the difference between 49 and 50, maybe if your training is the same, the difference between 49 and 50 might not be monumental, right? You might be a little weaker or less fit because you age, but the difference between that 49 to 50 and the 55-year-old person or the 54 is really big. And so that's where it's like, what I can do at 45 is going to look different at 55, assuming I'm training the way I should, just because as I age, I naturally lose muscle. I naturally lose fitness. And so
your ability to recover from it changes.
Exactly.
More stress gets added to your life.
And so that's where it's like, you can do things in fitness where, you know, maybe it's not the biggest priority for you in your life, and that's okay. But don't fool yourself into the fact of like, if you're in that phase for an extended period of time, your body's not going to stay where you were before.
Yeah, that's me right now.
It's me right now too.
Yeah. Like if I look at the past 4 years, I went from like maintenance to like minimal. Now I'm like, man, I gotta get back to shape. And then to restart it is it's a different world.
Yeah.
So I think another way to look at this when it comes to fitness is if you're not moving, right, you're dying type of thing, you
Yes.
don't want to be stagnant. I used to be able to work out 5-6 days a week hard and recover
Yeah.
to get the goal, the results. Now it's more like 3 with like a zone 2 day, recovery day to get results. But if I didn't move forward and realize where I'm at in life, if I was doing 5 to 6 days a week, I would just be breaking down, destroying myself.
Yeah. You'd be broken.
So it's almost mentally moving on to a new phase of my life instead of being stuck where I was.
yeah.
And I have to accept that. Like I have to accept heavy front squats take me like 4 days to feel recovered.
Right.
That's where I'm at right now. Where in the past, it used to be like, oh, I could squat heavy 2-3 times a week. It's fine. My numbers keep going up. I don't wake up feeling crickety, like those type of things. But if my mindset and if I didn't think like, if I didn't realize and not be ignorant to where I'm at in life and try to stay where I was in the past, I'd be broken right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's almost like a mindset thing, growth mindset when it comes to how nutrition and fitness and recovery play. And everyone knows someone where they're like, well, I know someone that works out 6 days a week and they're 55 and they're in great shape. And it's like, yes, I know there's that one person that you don't know all the details that's been an athlete his whole life. And he's been on TRT for the past 15 years. And you don't realize that because you don't realize his traps in his ears are not normal for a 55-year-old, right? But it's in general, we have to keep moving forward and understanding kind of where we're at because we
Yeah.
can't stay in the past.
Yeah. And I'm in a similar spot where, you know, I don't know, 2021 was probably the last year I was like truly competitive in CrossFit, where I would like wanted to do, or I was like going to CrossFit competitions, stuff like that. And I still compete in the sense that like, I look at myself almost like your weekend warrior pickup basketball player.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I love playing basketball. And so I go and compete with my friends on the weekends. That's what class is for me. It's
Mhm.
like, if I feel good, like then Joe and I will look at each other across the gym and be like, it's on, right?
Send it.
But that's like, it's like once a week, right? The rest of it is like, I'm going to come out of the workout really tired, but I feel good about getting a workout in.
Yeah.
But you know, 2020, 2021, 2019, like I was working out 2-3 hours a day. You know, like it was not uncommon for all of us to take a break, 2-hour break in the middle of the day and work out together.
I have never worked out for 3 hours in a day.
Your wife has though.
Yeah. Even if the programming is only about an hour and a half, it's still a 3 hour.
Well, yeah,
day.
that
She's like,
is a
"You're gonna get
NAS
so
thing.
mad."
Yes. But yeah, but now it's like I work out an hour a day, 4 or 5 days a week, right? Depending on what the kids have on the weekends. You know, I might not work out on Saturday. I might work out on Saturday. And so like you do workouts and it's like we did DT in class the other day,
Right.
right?
It smoked me. I used to love that workout.
Dude.
Crushed me.
And it was like, I knew I was going to be, I went into it knowing full well, I'm going to be nowhere near my old time.
Yeah.
And so I finished the workout. I was super tired and I looked at my old times and I was like, oh my, like I'm really nowhere near it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think for people like us, it's like wrapping your head around that. On the other side of the coin, it's for people who are newer to fitness,
Mhm.
realizing that doing anything is going to progress you forward.
Oh, the beginner gains is awesome.
Yeah. And
Newbie
so,
games is crazy. Yeah.
and so, but eventually that kind of tapers off. And so you have to find new ways to adapt and progress. Even if you want to, quote, maintain how you look and feel, you still have to adapt and progress. You said it right then and there. It's like, I had to change how I trained
Mhm.
because if I tried to train how I used to train, I'd be broken. And so
Yeah.
because of that, you had to adjust and progress. Where if you would just try to maintain and do the same,
Yeah. Just do what worked before. It just,
you'd be done.
yeah. I think part of it too is like if 10 years ago, if I was so sore on a Saturday where I'm like, I'm not doing anything today besides eating and sleeping,
Yeah.
I could do it. Now I have responsibilities. Right? Now it's like there's people depending on me. There's stuff I need to do. There's stuff that was planned for me already
Yeah.
to do. So training, working out, especially in the world of CrossFit, it used to be part of the end definition of CrossFit is regularly learn and play new sports.
Sure.
And now CrossFit's kind of become the goal is to get good at CrossFit.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you get trapped into that, you end up, it doesn't become functional for the rest of your life.
Right.
So this has actually happened in jiu-jitsu. So I'm not sure if you're a jiu-jitsu guy at all.
I've dabbled.
I'm a fake guy, jiu-jitsu guy.
Okay.
So jiu-jitsu 20 years ago was more based in if something happened, an altercation.
Yes.
And now jiu-jitsu is just about beating someone else who's good at jiu-jitsu. And it doesn't transfer over to reality as much.
Right.
So I think sometimes as fitness goes along and people try to be competitive in the gym, all of a sudden they're just good at being competitive in the gym, not good at being fit for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And I think as you age, you have to progress to the point where you realize the goal of working out in the gym is to get a stimulus that allows me to conquer the rest of my life. We've had more snow this year than ever.
Mhm.
I'm outside just hucking snow.
Yeah.
My neighbors just hucking it. Well, it's more important for me to feel good there than having a PR back squat.
Right.
It's just because we've had neighbors that have died from heart attacks from shoveling snow.
Phew. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my neighbor who's 2 years older than me, he takes rests every like 2 to 3 minutes. He sits down.
Yeah. Because he doesn't have the capacity to
He
do
doesn't
it.
have it. Yeah. So,
Yeah. And I think the last part to touch on is basically in life in general as well.
yeah.
For me, I've always found having some sort of goal, no
Mhm.
matter what it is, um, allows most people to have purpose in life, right?
Yeah.
Now, for you and I, we have a shared mindset when it comes to our faith that that gives us purpose, right? Knowing Jesus gives us purpose. But I also have goals too. And so it could even be as small as like I'm older, right? Not me. I'm
Older.
not me. I'm painting an example, right?
Yeah.
Let's say I'm older and my spouse passes, God forbid. It's like, okay, I want to be able to walk up and down the stairs without someone helping me
Yeah.
or open a jar without help, right? That's a goal.
Like staying functionally independent in the last quarter of your life is a big deal.
Right. And so like
Yes.
maybe that's somebody's goal, but that's a goal, right? That's something to work towards. The people who aren't able to set any course of action or something they want to achieve, even if seems outside looking in that small, is that mindset of like, well, I'm just cool where I'm at. There's nothing. But then you get to later points in life and it's
Yes.
like I had nothing that I was trying to hang onto or achieve. And so I found for me, it's like having some sort of goal or something that's like, oh, I want to work on this right now.
Mhm.
It allows you to have like fun and feel joyous with what you're doing.
Since the open's going on, that's part of the reason why you do the open.
Yeah.
Is it's something to train for. It gives you a purpose to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then even if it's running sign up for 5Ks or high rocks or like Nas and I are doing some different things too coming up.
Yeah.
Wherever it is, it kind of adds a purpose to what you're doing during the day instead of just doing, like I have a friend who's been doing the same workout for 30 years and his back goes out about every 2-3 months. I'm like maybe we should switch up.
Maybe we should do something different.
Like he's the guy that bought like the first Bowflex.
Yeah.
And he has the same blueprint from the Bowflex
Yep.
thing. And it's like, we got to change this up a little.
Yeah. And so guys, we thought it was a good idea to touch on this. It's something that at our business is super, it's kind of baked into our core values. It's not exactly a core value, but it's definitely baked in there. And so I would encourage you guys, whether it's in business or work, whatever you do, fitness or just in life in general, embrace the fact that there's no like, hey, I'm just going to maintain. There's always forces in life. And so continually looking for ways to progress is going to allow you to, achieve the things you want to achieve in all those areas. So thanks for listening, guys. As always, like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast platform you listen on, and we'll see you at the gym.